Hello, welcome to today's lesson on Mendeleev and organizing the elements. For this, you're going to need your Mendeleev guided notes. Good luck. The success criteria for today is you can describe how Mendeleev arranged the elements in his table and explain how his predictions, discovery of new elements demonstrated the usefulness of his periodic table. Vocabulary for today, periodic table. So, searching for an order of all these elements that we have. Now, in 1750, there were 17 elements that were identified. Now, these were mainly metals such as copper and iron. The rate of discovery increased rapidly as chemists began to investigate materials in a systematic way. As the number of known elements grew, so did the need to organize them into groups based on their properties. And in 1789, French chemist Antoine Lavoisier grouped the known elements into categories he called metals, nonmetals, gases, and earths. For the next 80 years, scientists have been looking for different ways to classify the elements, but none of their systems provided the organization principle that worked for all the known elements until a Russian chemist and teacher, Dmitry Mendeleev, would discover such a principle. So, Mendeleev's periodic table. In 1860, Mendeleev was looking for the best way to organize the information. He found a way to approach the problem while playing his favorite card game, a version of solitaire. Now, in this card game, the player sorts a deck of cards by suit and value to finish the game. The player must end up with all 4 columns. Each column contains the cards of a single suit arranged in order by value. So, Mendeleev's proposal. Mendeleev's strategy for organizing the elements was modeled on the card game. Mendeleev made a deck of cards with the elements on each card. He listed the elements by name, mass, and properties he had paid special attention to, how each element behaved in the reaction of oxygen and hydrogen. When Mendeleev lined up the cards in order, increasing mass, the pattern emerged. The key was to break the elements into rows. Mendeleev arranged the elements into rows in order of increasing mass so that the elements with similar properties were in the same column. The final arrangement was similar to the winning arrangement in solitaire, except that the columns were organized by properties instead of suits. Within a column, that masses increased it from top to bottom. Mendeleev's chart was a periodic table. The periodic table is an arrangement of elements in columns based on the set of properties that repeat from row to row. Mendeleev's prediction. Mendeleev had to leave some spaces in his table. This was due to elements that weren't discovered yet. As new elements were discovered, their properties were remarkably similar to the properties that Mendeleev had predicted the elements would have been. So, here's the evidence supporting Mendeleev's table. Mendeleev named missing elements after elements in the group. He gave the name Eka aluminum to the element that belonged one space below aluminum on the table. He predicted that Eka aluminum would be a soft metal, a low melting point, and a density of 5.9 grams per cubic centimeter. Mendeleev predicted in 1875 a new element was discovered. It was called gallium. Gallium is a soft metal with a melting point of 29.7 degrees Celsius and a density of 5.91 grams per cubic centimeter. Pretty close. The close match between Mendeleev's prediction and the actual properties of the new elements showed how useful his periodic table could be. The discovery of scandium in 1879 and germanium in 1886 provided more evidence. Concept check number 1. Describe how Mendeleev organized the element into rows and columns in his periodic table. Question 2. How did the discovery of new elements such as gallium demonstrate the usefulness of Mendeleev's table? Now would be a good time to pause the video, answer the questions, and then resume play. Question 1. Describe how Mendeleev organized the element into rows and columns in his periodic table. Mendeleev arranged the elements in rows in order of increasing mass so that the elements with similar properties were in the same column. Question 2. How did the discovery of new elements such as gallium demonstrate the usefulness of Mendeleev's table? The close match between Mendeleev's predictions and actual properties of the elements showed how useful his periodic table could be.